Oh my word, do I need a shave. Look at me. Wow, man. So it's been a while since I've done one of these, and the last couple I've done have been about the van. Well, I'm going to do another one this morning. Monday morning, 7th of February 2022. My eyebrows aren't even level. What the heck's going on there? There we go. Yeah, there's a lot of things to sort of talk about. Some personal, some more observational. The Rogan thing. I used to listen to Joe Rogan on his podcast before he went over to Spotify. And when he went over to Spotify, I stopped listening to him. I didn't listen to him all the time, and I found a lot of his podcasts, it would just be him chatting with his MMA, UFC friends. I didn't bother with those. It was about 1 in 20, you'd have a really interesting guest, a guest that I found interesting, that I wanted to listen to on. You know, Leah Remini, Elon Musk, Russell Brand, Alex Jones, Graham Hancock, Dave Asprey. Now, Dave Asprey stuff's been taken off, and this is what happened when Rogan went over to Spotify. A lot of the more alternative thinking ones and all that seemed to get taken down. So it's kind of why I stopped listening to him. But apparently there's 10 million people regularly listen to his podcast. And then there's all this stuff coming up. I'm totally no idea about all this ivermectin horse dewormer stuff, because I stopped listening to him by then, so I've got no idea and can't have an opinion on what he was touting then. I mean, when I was listening to Rogan, he used to be sponsored by Alienware laptops and Fleshlight and stuff like that, and then Squarespace and all, you know. But so yeah, but I think he's being attacked. Well, he shouldn't be being attacked because, you know, the Americans have this First Amendment, the right to free speech. So they're trying to attack him and they're trying to cancel him. And he can say what he likes. It's up to the person whether they want to listen to him or not. Okay, so there's that. And if you don't like what he's saying, if you don't like what he's saying about, you know, using horse dewormer to stave off COVID and stuff like that. I mean, the President of the United States was advocating drinking bleach at one point, so what's the difference? But, you know, people seem to have forgotten that. People have short memories. But what I did find, I saw one of his apologies because it came up on my Facebook. And I watched his apology and I'm like, yeah. And then they had to go back, and then he apologised again, and he said he'd used the N-word and he deeply regretted it. And a lot of it had been taken out of context, and yeah, somebody who had a go at him, someone else took over books they'd written and highlighted over time, read using and put it all up. So language is very emotive, isn't it? You know, Joe Rogan can't use the N-word, but Kevin Hart can. Is it Kevin Hart? Or Chris Rock? One of them. Chris Rock, I think. Chris Rock uses it a lot, doesn't he? Not Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart's in trouble for something as well, for something he said. You know, you got... Oh, it's just such a minefield. Anyway, so yeah. Well, somebody said, you know, who do you think is behind this attack on... Well, because it does seem to be now a coordinated attack. And since you asked, and I'll take your word, I'll tell you. This is a professional political attack. 3 waves, one after the other, is not a coincidence. Good spacing, good timing, so it's absolutely professional. But who do you ask? And it takes some digging. This is, I don't know what it's called, Wokal Distance on Twitter. WOKAL, Distance. I don't know who he is on Twitter, I've never seen him before. The video compilation of Rogan saying the N-word was dropped by @PatriotTakes 6 days ago. You see the video in the tweet in picture 1, and the Patriot takes credit for republishing the information in picture 2. They take credit. That they take credit is important, and you'll see why shortly. As you can see in their bio, Patriot Takes is partnered with @Media's Touch. This is where it gets interesting. Who is Media's Touch? Well, they are a professional political organisation. In fact, they are a Democrat super PAC, more on that in a moment, run by 3 brothers. They have a Twitter feed, PT, Patriot Takes, partnered with Media's Touch, 2006 following, 44,000 followers, followed by the Liza Tell, blah, blah, blah. They are they have all worked in media and have expertise in understanding and manipulating media. They have social media managers, etc. And then a super PAC. What is a super PAC? A super PAC is a relatively new type of committee that arose following the July 2010 federal court decision in the case known as SpeechNow.org versus Federal Election Commission. Technically known as Independent Expenditure-Only Committees, super PACs may raise unlimited sums of money from corporations, unions, associations and individuals and spend unlimited sums to overtly advocate for or against political candidates. Sort of like a cross between a media and a lobbying group. But there's pages and pages and pages of this. I'm not going to go through it all. But so basically the attack on Rogan is coordinated, and the long and the short of it is they're trying to get him cancelled because it benefits them, and they can say, oh, we're a powerful lobbying company and we're a powerful company and we got Rogan cancelled. So that's why they're doing it, really. And it's making me think the opposite. I should maybe throw my support behind Rogan. Not, he never said anything that I particularly, in any of the podcasts I listened to, he never said anything that I found particularly offensive. Most had gone off, and he didn't do that. He found a lot of stuff that maybe I didn't always agree with, and some of his podcasts, especially the what was it? He did a podcast with Graham Hancock, someone else, and it was 3 archaeologists or whatever, and it was, the one was establishment, number 2 were alternative, and it really ran out of control. And afterwards, the establishment archaeologist issued an apology and said, yeah, it all went out. It was a bit out of control. It all got a bit out of hand, So that was what I remember. The Alex Jones one was just pure madness. Elon Musk as well. He's a bit, the Russell Brand one's always quite interesting, but I find Russell Brand quite intense. But yeah. So that's the thing on the podcast. And then there's the whole thing as well. We've been watching a lot of telly this week. Weather's been rubbish. We've not been able to get out, do much in the garden or on the van or anything. So we've been watching telly. And now, is it Sky and Netflix's algorithms? Once you start watching a certain type of television, and it recommends similar programs like targeted advertising, or is it just TV at the moment? It's so heavy. I started watching Matt the Responder, and I'm like, oh, yeah, the trials and tribulations about being a police officer in Liverpool, and they're all going on about Martin Freeman's accent and all the rest of it, and it was good. And then you're about 3 episodes in, and there's someone getting murdered, and it all gets it gets so heavy, really, really heavy, so quickly. Something else we watched as well. I gave up on that. It was like, I want TV to entertain me. I want to sit back and either switch my brain off or watch something that's going to make me think, depending on what sort of mood I'm in. On Saturday night, we watched 3 action movies, one after the other, because I turned around to the missus and said, I'm fed up with all this heavy television. And we watched a couple on Amazon, I think, and one on Netflix, and they were just like big, dumb action movies. And that's what Saturday night TV should be, to me, anyway. So, yeah, The Responder, or something. I watched something 81, Project 81, or something like that. I mean, the latest haunted house thing. I watched the first couple of episodes, and it was it's so heavy and slow and all that. But yeah, I gave up on that. I mean, there must be some stuff out there that's not as heavy, but it's certainly not getting recommended on Netflix and all that to me and the missus. So yeah, TV. It's like social media. I'm off social media. I'm doing this, yeah, but I don't really put much stuff on platforms like Facebook and Twitter because I just find them so at the moment. And is it them or is it me? I've got a busy week this week. Mrs. is going into hospital on Wednesday morning for an operation, so I've got that to deal with as well. And do a bit of house tidying. Possibly got visitors at the weekend, all sorts. So yeah. Anyway, that's my rant and moan, mostly about how Rogan has been targeted by professionals and it's not a grassroots movement, and mostly about how heavy television is at the moment. Speak to you again.